gentlemen, welcome back to Those Two Geeks. He's Alex, I'm Joe, and once again, I'm on the go. We got our third man, not in a heel turn, but third man nonetheless, Brady, aka Gray Face Magooch, riding in the sidecar, coming with us on this ride. And yeah, it's been a little bit of a slog for the past week for yours truly, but Alex, always fearless leader, keeps up the slack, kept us going, lots of toys to talk about, but more importantly, a show that we are going to spoil because you all have it at your fingertips if you choose to. You don't have to go to a theater, and we all want to talk about it. And that is
And,
Daredevil Born Again.
and in our defense, it's only the first two episodes that have come out at the time of this recording. So
Yes,
it's not like we're spoil. It's been out for about a week. So it's not like we're
that's right.
spoiling
And
the whole show.
and if you've not seen it before you listen to us, then you're not as big a Daredevil fans as you think you are, and you're bigger those two geeks fans,
In
which we
which case, you're
appreciate.
probably going to and you're probably going to enjoy our thoughts before you watch it anyway. Maybe, who knows?
Yeah. So let's dive right into it before technology takes the wheel, like
I,
Carrie Underwood.
Side note: I was really expecting Brady to have said something by now, and I'm kind
No,
of
but don't
disappointed he
don't
has.
don't jinx it. He's listening to your voice, and I think he likes it.
Well, that's fair. Yeah. So Daredevil Born Again came out on the
My birthday, March 4th.
Yeah, I was gonna say the fourth. Why? What came out on the seventh? Oh, Reacher came out on the seventh. Anyway,
Yeah.
so yeah, Daredevil Born Again came out on the fourth. It's almost 4 or 5 days later at this point.
Yeah.
Uh, I thoroughly enjoyed it.
I
The,
loved
the
it.
the opening, I thought it was fantastic. I like how it is clearly focused or it clearly establishes that people know who Daredevil is. Not
Yes.
many people know who Daredevil is, but enough. And I
Yeah.
think that's the balance you want, where you've got a few people that know Kingpin, uh,
Yep.
well, Karen, and the cop that happens to see Daredevil at the beginning.
Yeah, which is a great character.
Yeah. Oh, I think he's fantastic. So I'm really enjoying it. I really like the slow start. I know there's 8 episodes, so I know it will pick up. I
It's
know we're
only
gonna
eight
get
episodes because I thought it was 18 episodes.
the second season is being filmed currently, so I think it's a case.
Ah, okay.
I wonder if that's what they said when, oh, there's gonna be 18 episodes. Be that
Mm,
as it may, but yeah, right, or I shouldn't have. There's 8 episodes listed on Disney
fine with
Plus, I
me.
think.
Fine with me.
Either way, I'm happy to see Charlie Cox back as Daredevil. I
It's
think Vincent
fantastic.
D'Onofrio is fantastic.
Ah,
Vanessa coming back is a nice tie, and I like that it's an almost direct sequel
it is a
to
direct
everything
sequel, just
that's
about.
happened. Yeah,
It's
so
the
I
first
think it's fantastic.
the first scene takes place literally where the last scene finished in Netflix.
Oh
Them
shit,
outside
yeah,
the
it
bar.
did. Yeah, it did.
Yeah.
I forgot about that.
So for me, a longtime Daredevil fan, very long time. I love Daredevil. For those of you who don't know Daredevil, shame on you. You're missing a lot. Um, but it takes it's called Born Again after the Frank Miller storyline, which is one of Daredevil's most pivotal storylines in comic book history. Which
Which you
really,
can actually get minor advertising. You can get these new Daredevil, or well, they're like pocket-sized graphic novels.
yeah,
Marvel and DC do them. DC's are like I think the $10, 13 Canadian
yeah,
something, and Marvel's are I think $15, like 18 something Canadian. It's the
right.
entire story in a slightly more compact version, and it's fantastic.
It's
You
good,
should.
but it's not as good as Daredevil Born Again, the show so far. I will say that. As much as I love Frank Miller, and as much as he has revolutionized Daredevil, other people have continued to revolutionize Daredevil, such as Brian Michael Bendis.
Hmm.
What's it called? Chip Zdarsky's done a stellar job. And if you
I've
notice,
really enjoyed Zdarsky's run.
what it's done is it's taken amalgamation of all three of those arcs and all three of those writers, and it starts to do with Daredevil Born Again. So Daredevil Born Again, the show, starts out with them all at their bar. Nelson Murdoch and Page, they're leaving. They've firmly established that they are all partners now, and we've left with the status quo that Karen Page knows Matt is Daredevil, and Foggy is very much, on board. Everyone, they're a happy family, and they're talking at the bar, and all of a sudden, Matt gets his, radar sense going, and boom, chaos ensues, and people just stop dropping dead like flies from objects. So anytime that occurs, you know who that is foreshadowing, which is Bullseye. And when you heard Born Again, I know when I heard Born Again when this was being filmed, I thought it was inevitable that Karen Page was going to meet her demise, that she was going to die brutally,
Hmm.
because Karen Page dies in
In
Guardian
Born
Devil.
Again. Yeah.
No, in Guardian Devil by
Okay.
Joe Quesada. And that didn't occur. You get a really amazing gut punch that just hits you in the throat, um, where Foggy Nelson takes a bullet. And my comic book brain was still like, well, surely this is going to build drama and he's going to live. Then you just started seeing Karen holding the wound, and he gurgles and just the blood overflows everywhere.
Yeah,
It's,
and it still provides drama, but not in the way that any of us were
yeah.
thinking.
And you're just like, they just took the soul of the show away from you within the
Hmm.
first 5 minutes. And it was a very bold move. And, a lot of people, I know my cousin was like, why? Because he's a Mighty Ducks fan through and through. That just ripped his heart out. He was so upset. Um, but it's exactly what the show needed, because it proves as the catalyst for Matt to basically be Daredevil no more.
Hmm.
And I love everything about this show. I love the way it's filmed. I love the way it's written. I just like how he's had this epic battle with Bullseye. He's full of shrapnel, like all in his body everywhere. And he just fucking backhands and shoves Benjamin Poindexter right off the roof and splat. Right
I
off the
thought that
roof
was
of the bar.
brilliant. Like
It
he's
was
like,
amazing.
yeah, like he finally broke him and then just shoved him
Right.
off.
And he intended to kill him with
Hmm.
every bit of his being, but it didn't happen because Dex is infused with adamantium like Wolverine.
Yeah, because is it his skeleton or is it his spine? I couldn't remember what they did.
It was his spine. He's got a adamantium reinforced spine, something like that. But I don't know how that would allow him to live landing on his face.
Comics.
But it's comics. The other thing is, Captain America: Brave New World was supposed to have introduced adamantium. I just realized they mentioned adamantium in the Netflix show.
They did. They did mention it in Cap as well. Wow, they did mention it. I think though, mentioning it in the Netflix show, it was.
It,
I assume it was. They just kind of quietly
non-canon at
set.
the time.
Yeah, exactly. Like, and I think that's what. Well, yes, it's a continuation of the Netflix show. I think that in some ways it's a not
A
a
reboot
complete
of the
100%.
Netflix show too. Yeah,
Yeah, like not a complete carryover.
yeah. It stands on its own with certain things, but
Yeah.
anyways, you rip the heart and soul out of you with Foggy being gone off the rip, and it's heart wrenching. And Matt just gives up, and he intended every bit to kill Dex. I will say this though. Here's my one caveat. I stand by this. I said this at the Netflix show. The guy who plays Dex is just my only weak point of the whole series as a whole. I just don't like him. He's so flat. He does nothing for me. I don't like him. I don't like this
Yeah.
portrayal of Bullseye. I didn't like Colin Farrell's portrayal of Bullseye. No one's done a good Bullseye on screen yet. No one. Like, it's just not my Bullseye. You know what I mean? Bullseye
Yeah,
has.
I don't hate the portrayal. I think it's one of the better ones. Well, we've only had
It's
two,
better. Well,
so
there's only two. It's better than Colin Farrell's,
mm,
because Colin Farrell's did a straight up version of the Joker
right.
as Bullseye, which was terrible.
He would
Um,
make a great Joker though.
yeah, exactly. So I was like, okay, as long as I can get through that. But then it begins with, the aftermath is it's 1 year later. Matt is fully immersed in his law practice. He is serving the law on the side of the law that's legal. He's no longer a daredevil or a vigilante. And it's not because he doesn't believe in vigilantes. It's because there are other vigilantes, and he's like, why do I need to do this? He can't do this because being Daredevil is what cost him Foggy.
Hmm.
Because they don't outright say it, but you could put two and two together and not come up with six. And it basically shows that if Wilson Fisk didn't know Matt Murdock was Daredevil, Foggy Nelson wouldn't have got murdered by Bullseye. And
Yeah.
that's the bottom line. Because Bullseye wasn't intended there to murder Matt Murdock. He was there to
No.
kill Bullseye. He was there. I mean, Bullseye was there to kill Foggy Nelson.
Foggy. Yeah.
Now, we'll get to that part later, but that's where we leave Matt Murdock, a very broken shell of a man who is living a very surface level life now, does his law practice, and pretends he's okay with the world, even though he's so jaded and doesn't care about it, really, truly.
Yeah. Like you can see it's very much just a he's
Yeah.
just done.
Like he's brought on an adversarial lawyer, partner who used to be basically their worst nightmare in court, now works with him as a full partner. They have their own law firm because Karen has left for San Francisco since Foggy has passed away. So, like, instead of her and Matt being there to pick up the pieces and still continue their relationship as lovers, um, she's left. She can't deal. She just lost her best friend, and she probably couldn't deal with what it was doing to Matt and left. Oh, we don't know what has fully happened in that year, but you can only assume.
You can imagine, right? And I think the fact that it skipped ahead a year is kind of fun because you don't know what's
Yes.
going on in that year.
Yeah. And so my assumption is we'll probably get like a flashback of Foggy at some point throughout the series. I find it hard to believe he was only signed for one episode and one scene. But maybe that's the case. Maybe they will subvert our expectations and go a completely different direction than the usual flashback trope. I don't know. I kind of almost wish they will not use a flashback. It has more impact if
I I
Foggy's
agree.
gone.
Like, yeah, I agree. Like, I'm sure there's a way that you can bring him back to a certain point, even if you bring him back down the road, because he's still
Yeah, I
listed as
don't. I
a
mean, the only
major
way you would
cast member.
resurrect him is the Hand would resurrect him like they did in the comic books.
No, I sorry, I meant is bring him in as a flashback after a couple of episodes, like
Oh
really
yeah, yeah,
drive
yeah, yeah,
home the point that he's not there.
yeah. So that's where we leave Matt Murdock. But the title is called Born Again. It's not just about Matt. It's about Wilson Fisk as well, where Wilson Fisk's journey has led him, and it has led him to the legal side of life, so to speak. And he is now in politics, and he's running for New York mayor. Now, that doesn't happen in the Born Again comic book by Frank Miller. That happens in Chip Zdarsky's run,
I was going to say, I
where,
know that's a later run, but I enjoy the fact they're blending it in.
yeah, but Zdarsky did a brilliant job of Wilson Fisk being mayor. It was such a great um, story arc. And then you get Wilson Fisk's fall from prominence as mayor, which would
Hmm.
basically ended Chip Zdarsky's run. That's how it was all done. But so Wilson Fisk, Vanessa has very much taken over his criminal empire, and it has thrived in his absence since the end of the Netflix show. And Wilson Fisk doesn't want to be seen on that part of the side of the fence anymore. So he goes legal and runs for mayor. But what I like
I
is,
I'm
yep.
really curious to see if this is as we all expect him putting a face on, or if he's actually trying to change. Because so many times you see the bad guy run for office and it's, oh, I'm good now, I've changed. Like, you haven't. We're all waiting for the other shoe to
Well,
drop.
if you watched episode 2, you already know the answer to that question.
Oh, I know 100% the answer to that question. But it's
Yeah,
a shame because I was hoping it would be an
I
actual
was hoping
change.
it would be a little bit more of a like he is trying to make a actual go at changing.
Now,
Very,
the flip side is that he didn't, like, the photograph isn't a threat to do anything. It's more a threat to, I will tell your wife that you also have um
a son.
another kid, a son. So that ultimately could be a lot more on the shady side of politics, but not down into the criminal aspect that he
Uh,
would have been
you're
in.
right, but it's the underpinnings of it. It's the fact that he would stoop to the
That
level
level
of that.
immediately. Yeah.
to not, instead of trying to rise above, and I'm dropping a lot of these references because my tangent's going to be coming eventually. Um, the rise above hate and things like that, and never give up and always try to be the good guy. It's like, yeah, sometimes you give in, but Wilson Fisk didn't even try at all. He reverted immediately to what he knows because it's his nature. But what I like is the cops aren't just rolling over. I love that police chief is like, see you around, Kingpin, like just really antagonizing him and shit like that. And I know that is not going to bode well for that police officer. That chief of police, he's a dead man. He is definitely not seeing the end of this season.
Oh, hell no.
He is fucking dead. But I also, there's some things that they've done for the show besides merging storylines. I like the new character, BB Urich, Ben Urich's niece.
Mm-hmm.
I love the introduction of her. I think she's a cool, like, boots on the ground type of character that adds to the show from a different perspective. I also didn't think I was going to like, Matt's new love interest, but I really like her a lot. Which only means don't get attached to her because I'm sure she's going to do the Karen Page thing and be off by the end of this season.
It's one of those things where you watch it thinking like, how badly are we going to treat Matt Murdock here?
Oh,
So,
it's going to be awful.
mm-hmm.
Because by the end of episode 2, Matt has already broken his vow. And he's
Not,
back.
yeah, basically.
No, basically. He hasn't donned the costume, but he's back. No, he has donned the costume. Hasn't he?
No, he didn't put it on.
No, he didn't. All right, I'm thinking of the beginning. Yeah. So,
Yeah.
anyways, he's back essentially because once they find out that his men are dead. I mean, then yeah, it's on. It's on like Donkey Kong. But I will say this: there is no other person I will ever accept playing Daredevil again. Charlie Cox is perfect as Matt Murdock. He
Mm-hmm.
looks like the comic book come to life, and all these posts about, well, I don't think he plays a convincing blind man. I really want somebody to list me who plays a convincing blind man. If you say Al Pacino, I'm going to throw a drink in your face.
So here's the thing. People that say Charlie Cox doesn't play a convincing blind man, maybe you're right, maybe you're wrong. At the end of the day, Matt Murdock's not a blind man. He can't see, but he has all the
Yeah,
other senses. So of course Charlie Cox isn't going to play a convincing blind man because he's not playing a I hate saying the word, but he's not playing a typical blind man. He's playing a blind man that can effectively see
with
better than
heightened
most people,
senses and everything. Yeah,
right? So of course he's going to be able to pay attention to things around him. He doesn't necessarily need to use the cane. The cane is a, a prop, right? Like he's
yeah.
not going to have the same issues that most blind people would have.
No,
He can, again, he can see better than you and I, and has more situational awareness than you and I, even if he
right,
can't see in color.
correct. And that's the thing. Like, he can see it coming. He's got ultra high reflexes and senses and whatnot. He's not the prototypical blind man. But
Mm-mm.
regardless, even if he was, he's the most convincing blind man I've seen so far. He does so many nuances that, like, I've seen a few blind people in my life, and they all add up to it. Like, Ben Affleck did not play a convincing blind person to me.
No,
Nor did, what's it called? Fucking Al Pacino. Like, so it's like, you know what? Shut up and enjoy the ride that Charlie Cox is taking you on. There's another reference. I could have said the final Charlie Cox, but that would have made no sense.
yeah,
But
no,
anyways,
exactly. Like it's one of those things where it's a really enjoyable show so far. We've gotten a lot to dig into,
but I'll tell you,
and
my favorite scene so far, by far, better than anything I've seen. Even my favorite scene of the whole Netflix series leading up to now is him and Wilson in the diner,
oh,
sitting down for
I,
their chat.
I love the fact that they're both threatening each other, and both of them are taking it very seriously. Like Wilson knows that this is a guy that, with Foggy gone, he has nothing left to lose,
Yeah,
and so he's not. He's like, I'm not going to mess with you. I
Yeah.
don't want to see you messing with me. And
Yep.
as long as we can keep that, great.
I just love the stay in your lane thing. I like how Matt's like,
I'll stay in mine.
uh, he goes, I was born to believe in grace. So when you tell me that you've changed, I'm compelled to believe you. And
Yeah.
if you truly have, then fine. But if you haven't, I'll find you. And then I love Wilson Fisk. Like right out the gate, I don't know. Here's the thing. This is how good Vincent D'Onofrio is. This is how good the writers are. You don't know when he's like, I had nothing to do with your friend getting murdered. That I kept my end of the bargain. That was unfortunate, type of deal. And he's like, you don't know if he's full of shit. If somebody ordered Bullseye to do this. Do we find out that Vanessa did it? Is Wilson telling the truth? Or is Wilson just being a complete shitbag and saying, I didn't do that, and then he really did it?
Yeah. I
So it's
wonder
that's
if there
part of
was
the
someone
fun.
I wonder if there was someone else that Bullseye was targeting and he just wanted to get like Foggy just happened to be collateral damage. Because I
No, because
wouldn't put it
no, he was targeting Foggy directly.
see, but I wouldn't put it past him to say, I wonder if Foggy is here and then someone else is gonna come out and then he shoots them,
Yeah, yeah,
knowing
yeah,
that so I can see it being cover that Foggy just happened to be the person who he figured, oh, I think they're there. I'll beat this guy up, get him to tell me where Foggy is, and then
yeah.
kill Foggy, cause chaos. Someone will come out, and I'll be able to get the other person. Then I don't know. Like
I think
I'm
Foggy was the
curious, but
target the whole time because when Matt was in between where he was going and where he was coming from, when he realized that he wasn't the target and he was running back, uh, Bullseye had his crosshairs on Foggy the whole time. He never moved them.
yeah, no, you're right. It's
So
one
he
of
was
those
the
things
intended
I'm trying
target.
to overthink. I think in some cases.
I think you're overthinking, but I
Yeah,
love how after Wilson gets elected as mayor, Matt's like walking and he's like, oh my God, uh, he won. And his date, oh, what's her name? Fuck, I forget her name already. But anyways, she's great. The new therapist that Matt's dating.
yeah,
And she's like, excuse me, and he's like, taking the thing too from Daredevil. It's like, is this woman supposed to believe that Matt can hear a TV in a bar two
it's
blocks
the
away?
yeah, it's like the oh, I could pick it up on a TV in the bar. She's like, what?
What
So
bar? Yeah.
yeah,
So,
so
but I
I'm
mean,
sure.
anyways,
Like the thing is, in that moment, if he can distract her enough, he would figure
yeah,
out if she believed him or not. But yeah, it's interesting that he lets it slip in some way so easily.
right. So I just like. So we'll talk about that. My favorite scene is by far them in the diner, because what it reminds me of is Robert De Niro's scene in Heat, the movie Heat, where the two enemies sit down, where you got the guy that the cop is chasing, and you got the guy, you got the cop, and they basically foreshadow each other. They have a sit down diplomatic chat where it's like, he goes, you ain't gonna catch me. And like the guy basically in a nutshell is like, I'm not gonna stop trying to catch you. And as long
Yeah,
as like they're okay, like they could have killed each other right then and there in the diner, but they
yep,
don't, because this cat and mouse game, like they let them know on a professional level, this is how it's gonna go. And I love how Matt Murdock and Wilson Fisk ripped from that. It gave you the same vibe. Them sitting down. Here's all my cards. We're all on the table. I flipped them over. Here's the river card. We both, we both got it straight to the flush.
hmm
You do
yeah,
this, I'm going to do this. I do this, you're going to do this. It's basically like two submarine captains with nuclear codes letting each other know, you pull that key, you turn that key, I'm turning mine.
yeah.
And it leaves
Look,
them at an even base where neither one
yep,
has an advantage.
yeah.
And
They
that's
all
the
the cards
brilliant.
are on the table, and now it's just a case of how you're going to react to it.
Yeah, and it's just now that's the brilliance of
Hmm
it when you have writing on that level, because you can only go either way. It's just
Yep.
great. So the other thing it introduces is this is very much an MCU world because Hector Ayala, the White
The White
Tiger, is in
Tiger,
it, and vigilantes are very much the norm. They talk about
Spider-Man's
the
reference.
Avengers. They talk about Spider-Man in it
Yep.
too. So I like how this is no longer a ground level world where, there's some guy in a devil costume, but there's nothing fantastical going on. No, there very much is now.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, exactly. Like
everything has
I
melded
enjoy that
together.
aspect to it.
Yeah. Like I love when Wilson Fisk is like some guy in a spider outfit. You
Yep.
know what I mean? It's that adds a new layer to this onion as well. And the guy who plays Hector Ayala is great
Hmm.
so far. I really enjoy it. But I like how he's like, I didn't do anything. I didn't even have my amulet at the time. The only thing I'll say is, for a guy who's a vigilante, you really keep a shitty hiding place of your suit.
Yeah,
Like,
someone can just walk in and find it.
he just walked in 5 seconds. It was like, look what I found. Amulet
Yep.
on top. Like, come on. I mean, can we be better, folks?
Yeah,
But
unless his wife knew and he's like, well, my wife knows. That's all that matters. No one's. I'm not going to get arrested. So.
yeah, exactly. So it's just, but I'm enjoying it very, very much so far.
Hmm.
And
Same.
like Hector Ayala, that's taken a little bit from Brian Michael Bendis' run on Daredevil. And they also have put in a little bit of tropes of like Civil War. And you notice like with the Sokovia Accords in the
Yep.
MCU. And I like that because he's like, vigilantism will not be allowed in my city. And I think it's funny too how like it slips in the dialogue that people call New York a city and a town because I do it all the time. So like I like New York City is very much a city. It's the most famous city on earth. But like you also call it a town. It's just your vernacular. Sometimes it slips. But so the show is good so far. I also like a good wrestling storyline. I don't know where it's going. I know enough of Daredevil Born Again that I could have been an expert on it, but I don't know this version, and I like that out the gate. Like I'm gonna be surprised.
I like the fact that you've got different aspects to it already. Like they're
Yeah,
building different parts of different runs to it, and I enjoy when that
yeah,
happens because, like you said, as a fan of the comics, it's easy to say, "Well, this is going to happen. This is going to happen. I wonder how the adaptation is going to be."
yeah.
Whereas now, like, "Oh, this is fun. I don't know what's going on."
Well, them killing Foggy right out the gate just like threw the gloves off,
Exactly.
and it's so good. I restarted watching Daredevil Netflix season one,
Oh, the Netflix Daredevil is still so good.
but I forgot that. So correct me if I'm wrong. I, for some weird reason in my brain, thought Vanessa died at the end of the Netflix series.
I don't know if she died. I think she just escaped, and you don't see her.
Yeah, so like it threw me when you saw her,
Yeah, like
and she's
it might be hinted that she's not around anymore, but I think
yeah,
if
I don't
that's the
know, but
case,
they're
it's
very
more
much
a
estranged at the beginning of this show, where
yeah.
Wilson's still wearing his ring, but she's not, and the other part where like she's cheated on him outright, and the information gets back to him, and she's like, please don't kill him, I like
Yeah,
him, and he's like, I'm not that man anymore, type of deal, but you wonder how much because see, bad guys are always good when they have nuances of. I mean, bad guys are always great when they have nuances of good in them.
agreed.
I think we're getting a Wilson Fisk who's trying in his brain to be as legal as possible and probably doesn't realize that he's still a dirtbag. He's trying in his brain because he's reserved. But like Matt gets pushed back to being Daredevil, obviously. Are we going to see Wilson crumble and get pushed back to being the Kingpin? I assume we will, but I might be wrong. And I just enjoy the ride so far. It's like, shut up and enjoy the ride that Charlie Cox is taking you on. And, it's only 2 episodes in. It's already captivated me. I can
It's a
see it getting better.
it's
You
it's a
know, I,
really good start to what should be a really good show, and I'm really looking forward to it.
yeah,
I think it's gonna be really good.
you can't see it letting you down.
No,
You know? So,
it's we said it before and we'll say it again. It's like the Carl Urban thing. There's been some shit things that Carl Urban's been in, but it's never shit
Carl,
because of him.
it's never shit with Carl Urban.
And same thing, like I'm sure Charlie Cox and Vincent D'Onofrio have been in some less than stellar things,
Yeah.
but either way, you're going to be able to enjoy their performance. And it's the same here. Like even if the rest of the season isn't great, if those two are in it, I'm going to be drawn to my TV.
Yeah. It's going to keep you on your heels.
Exactly.
Yeah. And with that being said, I've dropped enough wrestling puns for a lifetime throughout that
The
whole thing.
the irony is my time is actually running tight right now. So
Yeah.
I know you wanted to talk about the Cody Rhodes thing. I still
Yeah, yeah.
haven't I still haven't
No, we
seen it.
won't. We won't. But would you
So
say your time is up and my time is now?
essentially, yeah. So it is a I just noticed the time because I know we started late than we were
Yeah,
going
we
to
did.
just with technology issues. So um
We'll
yeah,
put a pin in that one for
100%
sure.
because I still wanted to talk about the Toy Fair reviews, get your
Yeah, let's
thoughts on
talk
that.
about
So
that. Let's talk about that. So,
that will have.
Archangel went up for a pre-order. I ordered him for you.
Oh, perfect. Thank you. So the irony is I saw him come up and oh, that's awesome. And it's like, fuck, I've got to find a way to get it and just forgot all about it. So
No, I
um
got him for you because I knew you would
I
want
want
him
to
for
delve
X-Force.
deep into those next time because again, this is just one of those things where I've realized I've got to run and take a bunch of stuff back to the dump, which shuts
Okay, so you
in
don't have
about an
any
hour.
time right now to do a brief
Yeah,
overview?
no, I really don't have much left at all
Okay.
right now. So we'll put a pin in that and come back next time.
Yeah,
Uh,
and guys, watch Born Again. Gals, watch Born Again. Anybody watch Born Again. It's
one,
fantastic so far.
it's
It's
really good.
probably the best thing the MCU's done since Deadpool and Wolverine, I would say. And
Yeah,
it's probably going to be the best thing for quite a while until they get their
agreed,
act together.
agreed. Well, on that note, folks, you know where to find us, and if you don't, I'm sure you'll figure it out. We'll catch you next time.
Hey, thanks for watching the previous video from Graphic Policy Television. Just by watching, you help support our site. Thank you so much. Now, if you're watching these videos, you probably care about geeky things like movies, television, comic books, toys, games, video games, you name it. You can go and subscribe right now to our YouTube channel to stay in touch and catch all the new videos, or check out our website at graphicpolicy.com. There's a nice link on this end of the video. But as always, thank you for watching. Keep on rocking and keep it geeky.